little review tonight, and I guess what we call probably a brand introduction. One of the things about YouTube which I've really enjoyed over the years is that viewers, subscribers will recommend products and brands I haven't even heard of before and introduce me to new stuff, and on occasion I want to share that stuff with my subscribers. And this, I think, is a good case in point. I had never heard of this company before. It's a company called Origin from Maine in the US. Never heard of them before, and probably about, I think it's probably around about January, February, one of my subscribers commented I should check them out. So I did, and they're a really interesting company. So as far as I can tell, this company came into being around about 2011. But in 2011, nothing at all to do with boots or footwear or clothing at all in a conventional sense. So what they were about was initially, I think, importing gi for jiu-jitsu and MMA and that sort of stuff. And over the years, they've diversified and tried out lots of different things and increased their product range and their offerings in a really sort of diverse and sort of uncompromising way. So the chap behind this company, I think, is a guy called Pete Roberts, and about, I think it's probably 18 months ago now, they built their first boot. There's a really nice video on their YouTube channel introducing the brand or introducing their boot line, talking about how they developed the idea, and I will post that below for you to check out. But yeah, this guy, Pete Roberts, seems to be pretty entrepreneurial, tries out lots of different things. They've got a range of sort of sports clothing, they've got denim, they've got these boots, nutrition, all sorts of stuff to do around the mixed martial arts world. And really the driving force behind what Pete does, it seems, is creating employment in his hometown, which is a admirable sort of driver, really. So, boots. I picked up 2 pairs from them. It took a little while before I could order them because they were, I think it seemed to be at the beginning of the year, they were repurposing to build PPE and scrubs and stuff like that in response to some of the pandemic stuff that's going on. But I think they restarted their boot production a couple of months ago, and these arrived, well, probably me, a month or 2 ago. But things are busy, crazy times, and just getting round to reviewing them now. So I've got 2 pairs. These are the Boondockers, and this is in their Coyote rough out, I would call it. I think on the website they describe this as a suede mil-spec water-resistant leather, but to the normal boot wearer I'd call it a rough out suede, but we will find out about how water-resistant it is over time. So that's the Boondocker, and the second pair here is, I think, probably what they'd call their sort of flagship model, and this is the Bison boot. Very similar design, in fact, actually, to my eye, identical design, but this is in bison hide, which is a wonderfully oily and character-filled leather, lots and lots of blemishes, and you can really see that bison skin and sort of imagine the story of that animal behind it. Really super oily, sort of a pull-up leather, I guess you'd call it, where as you rub your thumb under it you can see the oils moving around the leather. We'll come in for some close-ups in a minute, but fantastically heavy, oily leather, which I don't think I've ever had a boot in any sort of material quite as substantial as this. So the pricing, the Boondockers here are $235, and as we get into the details, I think these represent pretty amazing value. They're priced lower than a Red Wing, and there's a lot more involved in their build, which is really quite impressive. The Bisons are significantly more expensive. These are £360, so you're really, or $360 rather, sorry. So you really are paying for that leather. Through the review and long-term review following up, we'll find out whether it is worth the investment, but it is an impressive piece of hide, I'll tell you that. In terms of the ordering, all their boots are built to order, because all their styles, all their leathers can be sort of selected in and out. So with these, I've picked up a mini lug sole, a Vibram mini lug sole on the Bison boots, the gunmetal eyelets, and on these I've picked up the Christie sole, which is again another Vibram sole, if you can pick that up, with again the gunmetal eyelets, I think they were. So you can swap out the leathers, you can swap out the soles. I might put a little screen grab in just to show some of the options that you can pick. You can pick ripple soles, different colours, all sorts of different stuff. But yeah, you can basically have your built, or your boots custom built for you. You can also pick two different widths. These are the normal D width. You can also go with a more generous double E as well. So I guess before we get into the details and show you a bit about how these are constructed with a few close-ups, we'll just talk about the fit. So obviously these aren't broken in yet, but I've obviously tried them on to make sure they fit to start off this long-term review. These are a US 9, and if you follow my channel you'll know that is a true size sort of fit for me. So these are US 9, UK 8, and these are perfect fit for me. So that is what I'd call a true size fit. The toe box, the forward part of the foot here, as I say, it's a D width. It's relatively snug. I'll be wearing these with a thinner sock, certainly to break them in. But what I would say is that the break-in, I think it's going to be pretty easy, because there's no stitched construction around the toe. It's not a mock toe or anything like that. So it's going to be a pretty easy break-in. There's also a fair bit of headroom, I'd call it. So the depth between the sort of the top of the boot and the bottom. So there's plenty of room for that just to stretch out with your foot. So I think these will be pretty easy to break in. The other thing which will really help with break-in is the fact that these tongues are not bellows tongues, which, you know, for a work style boot I'd normally expect a bellow tongue just to keep some of the dust and debris, maybe a bit of water out of your boot, out of your foot, but actually not having a bellows tongue does make for an easier break-in. One of the critical parts, apart from getting the toe box comfortable, is getting your heel cinching back into the heel cup here nicely, and that is all about getting those laces tight down on top, and having a non-bellows tongue will really help out with the speed that you achieve that. So I think the break-in's going to be pretty easy. One interesting thing is the backstay here is really quite elaborate, very pleasant to look at, but it is really solid. So break-in around that I don't think it's going to be a problem, but the first sort of few days, maybe the first week or two, you're really going to want to break in that backstay to get that really comfortable sort of all day sort of feel on your feet. So I think probably the best thing to do is to come in and have a look at the close-ups, understand how these boots are put together, and then we'll wrap it up. Coming in for some close-ups here, this is the Bison boot. So this is the premium leather. As I say, it's a super heavy weight, oily, sort of character-filled leather. You can see the creases and the marks from the animal's hide there, and as you run your finger across it, you can see the oils being moved around in the leather. It returns back to its deeper, darker hue. That's sort of a good sign of a well-oiled, what you call a pull-up leather there. Fantastic leather, but you know, there is a premium to pay for that. Beautiful soles. These Vibram mini lugs. This compound is super hard wearing. I had a pair of Red Wings recrafted with this sort of sole, and it lasts absolutely ages. So a really good tough sole, quite low profile on the heel there, and then you've got the construction. So you've got a stitch down construction at the front and a traditional construction at the rear. The benefits of stitch down at the front is obviously a degree of waterproofing. So it acts as a sort of a skirt, a spoiler to stop water getting in under that forefoot area, and it also really helps with flexibility and break-in. To have it sort of half and half is quite a sort of a feat of boot engineering, and really, quite a lot of the detailing of this boot, or these boots, considering these are sort of a bootmaker of less than 18 months sort of maturity. It's pretty uncompromising stuff, and they've really nailed the details, I think. So, as I say, the stitch down front there, you've got some wonderfully sort of flamboyant detailing, sort of in a very conventional world of bootmaking. Just these little details can tell you that this brand is sort of thinking differently. The heel stay at the back there, and I think this bit which wraps around is called the foxing, but all one piece, and just the little flourishes, the fact that you've got the sort of the spike out there, the little spikes there. It's just really a different way of thinking about how to build a boot. Again, the origin logo there, non-conformist, I guess would be the word. They're certainly not trying to be Red Wing or any of the heritage brands. They're doing it their own way, which I think is really good. So really nice detailing. Obviously the laces, and if we open up this boot without the laces in place, you can see that it isn't a bellows tongue. And there's a question in my mind about the merits of a bellows tongue. Certainly on what would be a sort of a work-focused boot, but it does make for a much more comfortable break-in. I think a bellows tongue. Really nice detailing. They've got everything lined, especially the collar there, and almost what I guess you'd refer to it as almost taping up the seam there. Thin bit of leather up the inside there. Really, really nice construction. On first try on, that backstay is super firm. They need a little bit of breaking in, but as you cinch it in, the lack of bellows tongue will really help speed up that break-in. On the inside there, you've got the origin tab, made in the USA, and you can see a liner here. Now initially I was a little bit nervous about that. I thought it was probably just going to be a fabric sort of wicking liner, but to my belief, it actually feels like a very fine suede, which I think is going to be a very nice addition. I do like leather lined boots. The reason why I don't like fabric liners on the Vamp is on occasion your toes will sort of tear them, and they don't necessarily age gracefully, but I think a suede liner is really nice. You've got a single density insole. I'll just pull that out, and beyond that you've got another layer of padding. So a very simple insole, single density, all black, no branding, but makes for a comfy ride day to day. And then beyond that you've got a padded sole. I'm not quite sure what this material is. I think it's a man-made material, but yeah, very nicely put together, and the detailing I think is absolutely exceptional. Coming on to the Boondockers in Coyote, this is the what they describe as the mil-spec sueded water-resistant leather. To my eye, it's a rough out, so you've got the surface of the hide on the inside and the suedey sort of rough grain on the outside. Really attractive leather, very similar to the Red Wing Hawthorn muleskin leather. Very nice, and something I've wanted to put in my collection for a long time. The soles on these are the Vibram Christie. Vibram Christies, to my mind, to my experience, are far superior than the Red Wing sole. Much more dense material and therefore harder wearing. And if you've ever had Red Wings and worn them on city streets, you know that the soles wear really quickly. These, I think, will give you many more miles. Very similar construction to the Bisons all round, really. You've got the same sort of collar sort of piping. Is it piping or lining? You've got the taping up the back there, which you can see a little bit better with this lighter leather. And you've got the wonderful detailing up the heel stay. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of this video. As I say, this is part of what will be a long-term review on these, so I'll follow up on these pretty shortly, just talking about the break-in and making sure that I had got the right fit. I think these are going to be absolutely perfect, but it's always useful to know, those initial feelings, whether things break in nicely, what you learn from those first weeks wearing them, and then follow it up with 6-month, 12-month reviews, just to see how these actually bed in, how they perform. But, first impressions are exceptionally good. Certainly with the Boondockers at $235, I think they represent absolutely superb value. The Bison boots, something special about this leather, and let's see exactly how that performs long term. If you haven't seen my channel before, please check it out. Lots of boot reviews, absolutely love boots, and what I like to do is give a long-term insight into how boots perform. It's incredibly important in my mind that boots last. Certainly boots of this sort of value, boots that you can resole, so potentially things which will last you a decade, so 2 or 3 resoles, less stuff into landfill, American jobs, handmade, all that sort of stuff. So I love this sort of stuff. Denim, especially sort of Japanese denim, love that. Everyday carry, fountain pens, pen knives, a bit of cycling, bit of guitar. Do check it out. You might find that we have some other common interests. If you thought this was a useful review, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you for the next video. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.